Primetime local news, serving the Lakeland and Midwest regions.
The Oilers Entertainment Group recently announced they are selecting Vermilion as this year's Celebrating Oil Country feature town. Our Callan Dunlop spoke with the mayor of Vermilion about the exciting news.
Today for Primetime Local News, I'm joined by Greg Thronson, mayor of Vermilion, and today we're here to talk about the exciting news that Vermilion was selected to be the Oil Country feature town. And to start, I'd love to hear your thoughts on the big news.
Absolutely great news that we got publicized yesterday morning. It's so exciting to be chosen. There's so many other communities that could have been part of this, and we're very honored and happy to be part of this with a wonderful organization like the Edmonton Oilers to be chosen. What
sort of festivities are going to be coming to Vermilion?
We've been notified of a few things. So they come out on November 1st. They do some skating and organized skates with our minor hockey all day. They'll go to the schools. Hunter the Lynx mascot will be out that day. They'll be joining and visiting local businesses. I've already had the local senior lodge reach out and hoping we can have some visits out there. And they spend a full day November 1st here in the town of Vermilion. And then on November 4th, we're featured at the Nashville Predator Edmonton Oilers game that night. And we have a big presentation on screen that night, and we have a section set aside for us for strictly Vermilion residents to purchase tickets.
Can you run me through some of the behind-the-scenes work to make this all happen?
Well, it's had to be very quiet, and of course, council and myself and some administration have known about this for 2 weeks. And of course, keeping a secret is pretty hard, but we did, and we've got a committee put together behind the scenes of some local businessmen, town administration, minor hockey, of course. And now that it's public yesterday morning, we will be sitting down with putting all our heads together, coming up with the best ideas to really, how do we entertain all the Oilers and the alumni and what's going to take part on that Wednesday, November 1st.
How does this news impact Vermilion as a community?
You know, you go through the ups and downs in this world, and, you know, there's not maybe some good positive some days, but there's nothing negative at all about this. And it's a community that's going to feel such a positive impact, and not just myself or council or administration, but all the kids at the schools and all the parents and everybody in the community will be involved in this. That would be more than welcome. And that's the benefit of this. It's not just to a certain level of people. Everybody is involved. And it's such a positive to have a professional sport team, and as classy as the Edmonton Oilers are, coming to your town to celebrate your town. It's a wonderful feeling.
I read on the press release that you are quite the Oiler fan yourself. Can you speak to what this means to you personally?
I guess it floods back all the memories. I mean, growing up in the 80s there, and it brings back my memory as going to my first Oiler game, which was about 1980, was against the Colorado Rockies, if you can imagine, back in the day when they had the team. So that brings back my memories. You know, watching Wayne Gretzky in his heydays there was, you know, phenomenal, and just all the 90s, the ups and downs. But yeah, I don't know how to describe. I mean, I'm not the world's biggest Oiler fan, certainly one, but it just brings back all those memories of growing up. And that's what I appreciate coming out here with all these kids. They're going to have memories of that day last forever. And that's the wonderful, what's going to come of this for sure.
Were there any last things that you'd like to add regarding the news?
No, well, I guess generally just saying we're just really proud to be chosen as that community to represent the oil country feature town. And, you know, we're a humble town here in Vermilion, and we're just really proud to be part of it and working with a classy organization like the Edmonton Oilers. And we really look forward to spending those days with them.
Well, that covers everything. Such awesome news to hear. Thank you so much for taking the time to talk about this.
And it's time for us to take a look at weather with Abby St. John. Good to have you here, Abby.
Yes, today we saw not so great of a day.
Very windy today.
Yes, very windy. I thought I was going to get blown over. I almost did a couple times, but yeah, it certainly was not the day that I thought it would be. I didn't suspect that it would be super gloomy, but We got a gloomy day out, and currently it's still kind of overcast. But we are sitting at 16 degrees, which isn't too bad. But if you notice, that wind is coming in at 20 kilometers per hour, coming in from the northwest. So that wind is still quite strong. So it's definitely going to feel cooler than that 16 degrees. But we're starting to see a tiny bit of sun peeking out of those clouds. And then across the region, 19 in Wainwright, Vermilion, Vegreville, 20 in Provost, 18 in Edmonton, Marwayne, St. Paul, Bonnyville, and Lac La Biche, and then 17 up in Cold Lake. And then on the Saskatchewan side, a little bit cooler, 15 in Green Lake and North Battleford, 16 in Isla Crosse, 17 in Pearson and Maidstone, 16 in St. Walburg, and 20 out in Macklin. And then taking a look at overnight tonight in North Battleford, it should clear up overnight tonight with a low of 4, so it's going to be a little bit more chillier than yesterday, but it's still going to be a fairly clear evening. And then tomorrow it will raise to 22 degrees, and it's expected to be quite sunny out. Definitely a lot warmer than what they're sitting at right now. So that's something very nice to look forward to. And then tonight in Cold Lake, things drop down to 1 degrees in Cold Lake. So it's definitely going to be very chilly out, but it will be clear skies. And then tomorrow it'll raise up to 22 as well, with just a little bit of cloud coverage, but for the most part it should be quite sunny throughout the day. And then here in Lloydminster, we will drop down to 4 degrees, so it's going to be again a little bit more chillier, and that wind is going to slow down just a little bit, but it's still going to be quite windy out, but it will remain clear. And then tomorrow we're expected to have 21 degrees as our daytime high with plenty of sun. So it doesn't look like we're going to have too much cloud coverage tomorrow, and hopefully it feels a lot warmer than it did today. And then over the next 3 days, like I said, we'll have a very sunny day tomorrow with a low of 7. And then Saturday, to start your weekend off, it will be another sunny day with a high of 25 and a low of 7 as well. And then on Sunday, it will be mostly cloudy skies, but it will still be quite warm with a high of 24 and a low of 7. And we have another weather photo submission from Greg Mercer. Thank you so much for this beautiful trail shot at Bright Sand Lake. If you'd like to see your weather photos shown on our cast, please email us at weather@stingray.com. That is a look at your first weather forecast. I'll have a more in-depth look later on in the show.
Great, thank you so much for that, Abby. Later on in the show as well, we'll find out how the Wrestlers women's hockey team is preparing for their second ACAC season. The Lakeland Wrestlers women's hockey team is well into their preseason and are practicing every day. Our Thomas Wildman has more on their preparations for their second ever season in the ACAC.
The Wrestlers were out bright and early for practice as they are getting prepared for the rest of the preseason, as well as the regular season, and head coach Morgan Mann is liking how the team is looking.
We had our first weekend last weekend up in Nate for a preseason tournament. Played a couple university teams, U of A and Grant MacEwan, and then the Edmonton Wolves from the junior league we were in our first year. Games went really well. We came back with 2 wins, and we got a good group.
The Wrestlers, after a successful first campaign in the ACAC, getting the bronze medal, gained a lot of experience for the young squad. And the veterans of the team are making sure the rookies are getting used to college hockey.
I think it is important to make sure that all the rookies have somebody they can look up to and talk to, because it is different going from minor hockey to college. Your course load's way more, you're practicing way earlier in the morning, you have a lot more stuff to do, less time, so I think it's pretty important for us to be there for our rookies and just make sure they got somebody who can help them out a little bit.
The Wrestlers will still be one of the youngest teams in the league alongside the newcomer Medicine Hat College Rattlers, so the team knows that they will have to work hard to succeed.
I know our coaches really push on us being hardworking, being the hardest working team on the ice, and I think that's really what it all comes down to, is who has the grind, who has the grit to really push in the difficult situations and everything. I mean, we are kind of still an underdog, only our second season, and I know last year we did prove ourselves, but yeah, just keeping hardworking, and yeah, I think that's what our coaches really aim for.
The Rustlers will have 4 preseason games this weekend against the Medicine Hat College Rattlers and the Cochrane Chaos. Thomas Wildman, Primetime, local news.
Well, this is quite an honor for me this morning. I'm speaking with Graham Russell of the legendary band Air Supply. Graham, thank you so much for joining me today.
Stacey, it's a pleasure. Thank you for your time. It's nice to be with you.
Well, you are going to be in our area here towards the end of the month. You have shows in Regina and in Calgary as part of the ongoing tour that you have. How have things been going on the tour so far?
They've been fantastic. Very busy and some great shows. We've got a reputation for doing a lot of live shows, but we just love being out there and being on stage. That's the final payoff for us. But the shows are fantastic, and I think we're gaining a lot more new people. I always ask people in the audience if they've seen us before, and a lot of them say no, and it's kind of surprising. But at least we add them to our people now, to our fan base.
Well, your music has really transcended all the decades, starting in, 70s, 80s, and it just keeps going. So are you finding that people who were fans during that time, now their kids are coming out because they listened to their parents' music and they loved it, so they're coming to your shows as well?
Absolutely, yeah. We get their grandchildren now, and funnily enough, they know all the words, so they're not just a casual listener of Air Supply. They're deep, they're hardcore, and they know all the words to all the songs. It's pretty trippy when you see like a 9 and a 10-year-old, and they know all the words. It's just wow. You go, whoa, okay.
Well, what's it like for you, Graham, when people say that they have your songs attached to memories, whether it be, maybe they used it for a wedding or it was their song, right? How does that make you feel?
Uh, it feels really great, I must admit, but it's a responsibility. I mean, if it wasn't our songs that people were getting married to or doing whatever they do, listening to our songs, it would be somebody else. But I'm glad it's us because we're good people and we're very level-headed. But whenever I write a new song, I always think, God, is this going to be one that goes down through time? And I never know. But it's nice that people of all ages still love the music, and that there's so many memories attached to every song in different ways. It's a great responsibility, that we have. That's why we take such a lot of care to when we play live to make it sound as good as we can, and we want to give people what they want, what they came to hear.
Now, you guys have been doing this for almost 50 years, which seems incredible because a lot of bands obviously don't make that. What is the key to still being successful and still having people wanting to listen to you after almost 50 years?
uh, you know Russell and I kind of sit down and think about it. Now we're getting close to that 50-year mark. It's quite an achievement. We're very excited about it. And you're right, not many artists get to that because they either break up or they don't want to do it anymore. But with us, Russell and I have this really great friendship that has gone down through the decades. And we don't spend a lot of time together when we're not on the road. So when we're out there, when we're doing shows, we have a lot to share, a lot of, what have you been doing? Because we both live totally different lives. So I'm interested in what he's doing, and he's asking me what I'm up to. What have I been doing? Because I'm always in the studio, I'm always recording. And then Russell will say, oh, okay, I want to hear the new songs. And so there's a lot to catch up on. But I think ultimately, Russell and I have a great respect for each other. I'm allowed to write the songs, and he's the singer, and neither of us want to do the other's job. So it's a perfect scenario. And Russell doesn't like to get involved too much in the studio things. He just wants to come in, and he knows the songs, and he wants to come in and sing. Then he wants to get out on stage. So that's good. It gives me free reign in the studio to do what I need to do. There's nobody saying, oh, I want to do that. It just doesn't work that way. I'm allowed to do what I think is right for the band, and so far, it's been correct.
Why do you guys continue to tour? You really don't have to. You could just sit back and, sip your
Yeah,
coffee in the morning and watch the birds and enjoy life. So why do you
uh,
guys keep doing
that's
what you're
what I
doing?
love doing. I love watching the birds. Uh, uh, we could certainly, but I think we've got a lot to say yet. I still don't think we've released our greatest song. I know we've had some really big ones, but I'm always looking for that great song that will send us off into eternity, till we become legends. Because I don't think we're anywhere near that now. I think we've got a lot more to offer. There's a lot more shows we want to play, and we're not ready yet to pack it in. Although we could. I mean, I live on a ranch, and I could just walk around and get in my garden and do all that like George Harrison used to do. But I'm not ready for that yet. I've got a lot of things to do yet, and I know Russell has as well.
Well, Graham, when the fans come out to the shows here in Regina and Calgary, what can they expect from an Air Supply show?
Well, I always say this, especially to the people that haven't seen us before, and there'll be a lot uh, in Regina for sure. And it'll be everything they don't think it's going to be. Because if people haven't seen us, they don't realize that it's a rock and roll show, and it's loud and it's in your face and it'll make your heart beat. Uh, and it's very powerful, very emotional. They'll laugh and they'll cry, and we take them on a journey. Because most of our music is very emotional, and it's like a roller coaster. We'll take them up to the top, then drop them down again emotionally. So it's a ride, and they're going to love it. But it's a rock and roll show at the very least, and it'll probably be the best show they've ever seen, and that's a big statement. But we've done almost 5,400 live shows, so we really know what we're doing now. We've got it down. Yeah.
Well, Graham, I really appreciate you speaking with me this morning. And I know a lot of people from here and this area are heading out to the shows in Calgary and Regina coming up here at the end of the month. So thank you once again. And we really look forward to seeing your shows.
Great, Stacey. Thank you. It's been a great interview, and thank you for your time.
Furniture set and design supplied by Furniture Gallery, downtown Lloydminster.
I'm happy to be joined here today by author Charles Brakefield. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you, ma'am. I appreciate the opportunity to be able to swap lives with you and impress you with mind-numbing details of little value.
Of course. Well, welcome. Now, today we're going to be talking about your latest book, The Killer Enigma, which you wrote with your co-author, Rox Berkey. And it's part of an ongoing chronicle series called the Magnolia Bluffs Crime Chronicles. Tell me about this book, this recent book, and how it fits into the chronicle series.
A little bit of history on this series. This series doesn't belong to us. What happened was about two and a half years ago, one of our author friends sent out a note saying, "Hey, look, I need to put together some material for a blog post. I want all of you to write short stories. And here's the image." And he put a image of like a single hull boat with one mast. And it's kind of laying there and it looks kind of uninteresting. And he said, "Everybody write me a story. I don't care what genre that you pick." And then we did that, collected all the stories. We had and published it, Authors Beyond the Sea. We had so much fun with it, and nobody got arrested. So they said, "Let's." One of the overachievers said, "This is a kind of a cool idea. What if we had a city, make-believe city, in Texas, of course, in the hill country, and we'll just have everybody write their own book." their vision of what's going on in that city, their perspective. We have shared characters. We've got naming conventions that we use, and we were book number 5 last year in the series as it started, and then book 16 this year of the series. So we participate in the Crime Chronicle series for Magnolia Bluff, and the latest book that we put out, which was number 16, was The Killer Enigma.
This series sounds very unique by having multiple authors involved. Tell me about this latest book, The Killer Enigma.
The Killer Enigma. It's we brought back the 2 characters that we had a lot of fun with on the first book, which was the Flower Enigma. Um, she is a top Brazilian model at her peak of her career, but the trouble with that is that there is no privacy. There's always the paparazzi, somebody looking for to touch the famous Joe W. And her husband, now of 1 year, JJ. His real name is Juan Jr., but he goes by JJ. He says, "Okay, enough's enough. We're going to go to that place that we tried last year. Lightning never strikes twice in the same place, right? So we should be able to have a nice quiet vacation. We should be able to enjoy the friends and acquaintances that we met, reestablish those bonds, see how some of the people we'd saved, how they're faring at this point, and it'll be good." And they get into in there, and they stay at the Flower Bed and Breakfast, which is sort of the focal point for both of the stories, and they can't quite get away from the fact that they're urban legends. And so the town is poured out saying, "Oh my God, you saved us. You've helped so many people last year when you were here. Let's go ahead and congratulate you for everything that you could do." And they're like, "Really? We're looking for peace and quiet. Come on, guys." And so like, "Okay, fine. Shake hands. All right. Can we go now?" And then they get hooked on the idea about buying a piece of property with some acreage and building a quaint getaway home. And that's when the monsters come loose.
That sounds like an awesome read. Where can people find the book and the others in the series?
They're all grouped by the Magnolia Bluff Crime Chronicles on Amazon in the ebook format. Almost everybody's got the books also in hard copy. And if you're a paper fanatic, I know I am. So that's the way that we like to offer it. It was the collaboration and confederation is I think what really makes the series stand out. It was really an honor to be invited to attend and write with these people, because they're all award-winning authors in mysteries, suspense, thrillers. So it's a little daunting to be able to be in such powerful company. So we tried really hard and polished a lot on the Killer Enigma to be able to hold our head high with the other professionals in this group.
That's great. Well, thank you so much for joining me today, and hopefully the series continues and people continue to love it.
Just so you know, we've already sketched out the one for the next year. And we'll have some paranormal folks joining the series in January, February. So they're already working on their novel, and we'll be back again in August with our third installment for the Enigma Crime Chronicles.
Taking a final look at your 7-day forecast, we're looking at a sunny day tomorrow with a high of 21 and a low of 7. Saturday is going to be a nice bright sunny day with a high of 25 and a low of 7 as well. A little bit more cloudier on Sunday, but still quite warm with a high of 24. And then on Monday, there's a 55% chance that we're going to see some afternoon showers. And then we start to cool off on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday with 18, 16, and 15 to round out your week. So it's looking like things are going to start to cool off in mid next week.
Well, you know, one thing that I find interesting about that is the 2 weekend days is the most beautiful weather possible. So it's nice how it worked out like that.
Yes, definitely take advantage of that sunny weather for over the weekend. And even in the early next week too, it's still going to be quite nice out. So definitely take advantage while you still can.
Exactly, because this is the time of the year where you just got to enjoy what you can, because it's not going to be like this for much longer.
No, but we were lucky this year. We got a early start to the summer weather.
Yeah, it was pretty warm in May and even a little before that too.
So I think we had a pretty good summer.
Yeah, and it's nice with the leaves changing everything too nowadays.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, well, that's all the time we have for this edition of Primetime Local News. We'll see you back here again tomorrow.